Hey y'all, welcome back. I'm Shayna Cersei and I'm so excited to paint with you today. Today we're going to be doing a really simple and easy practice skill, but we're going to add a little bit of something to it so that way we're not just practicing, but we feel like we're making a full piece. So we're going to practice variegated washes. That's where we take two separate colors and blend them together and try to make a seamless blend to create a transition. So while we're practicing our variegated washes, we're going to turn that into a sky scene, maybe a sunrise or a sunset. We're going to use Quinacridone Magenta, a Cadmium Yellow, and some Payne's Gray and create a silhouette on top of that variegated wash. So let's go over to the art desk and get started. Today we're going to be practicing something really basic and simple, but often needs a lot of practice, and that's variegated washes. So washes are a core part of watercolor painting. Being able to do a flat wash, a gradient wash, and a variegated wash is when we bring two different colors together kind of seamlessly. These are important skills and techniques. Now, when I get my students to practice washes, it's not always very exciting. You don't always want to practice. You want to make something while you're practicing. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to create a variegated wash in the sky as a sky, and then we're going to put a silhouette in front of it. So we feel like we've created and made something while also practicing our washes. I often make my students, we practice washes and we cut our paper into a bunch of different pieces with tape, and then they do washes, and then I have them cut them up for bookmarks and we doodle on them just so we don't feel like we've wasted paper or materials just doing practice washes. Okay, so I have my core paints. This is Arch watercolor paper, 140-pound cold press. Today I'm using a 1/2 inch square brush, so it's got a flat end or a flat. And I have my water, and that's pretty much it. So I'm going to be using, let's see, Quinacridone Magenta and Cadmium Yellow, I think. Yes. So Cadmium Yellow and Quinacridone Magenta to make this. So for colors, I'm going to be using, let's see, Quinacridone Magenta and Cadmium Yellow. So in addition to having those two colors, and when you mix them together, they will create a third color, an orange. We also have values we can play with, so lighter and darker values. All right, so first I'm going to start with, I want my yellow to be at the bottom and my magenta to be at the top, if this is going to be kind of a sky. And I'm going to start with my magenta. Actually, you know what? I'm going to start with my Cadmium Yellow. Oh, let's scooch over here a little so you can see. All right, bringing out my Cadmium Yellow. So I'm going to combine variegated and gradient. So I'm going to start with a pretty light color at the bottom. Now a bunch of this is going to be covered up with silhouette along the bottom here. So it's mostly water, a little pigment, and I'm starting to add more and more color. And what I'm trying to do is keep a nice juicy edge on this. So trying to keep it wet towards the edge. I'm gonna add some more yellow. And now I'm going to introduce, get that nice and wet there. I'm going to introduce magenta. I'm going to end up walking these towards each other. So I'm going to work quickly up here. My paper is very thirsty. And I'm going to actually mix a little bit of this on my palette as I kind of get into the center here. And all I'm going to do is walk a little bit of this up, rinse my brush, and now walk a bit of this down. So back and forth, all the way down. You can see how we have the pink, and then we have an orangish color in the middle, and then that works its way into the yellow. And while it's still wet, I'm going to introduce a little bit darker yellow in here. To create a slightly more intense orange. There we go. And then I'm just going to take a clean, damp brush to kind of even this out down here. And just bring everything all the way down to the bottom. Voila! And there we have a variegated wash. We have two different colors kind of coming together to a third color here, and we've also created a gradient wash here as well. So depending on what you're trying to do, if you're trying to make a really interesting sky, you could come in now and pull out some color for some texture in the sky. So practicing pulling out color. And now we have some lighter, whiter areas. Could drop in some darker color. So as long as this is still evenly wet, you can kind of play with it. So we're going to leave it. I'm just going to work these together a little bit here. Now that I've pulled color out and put color back in. And then we're going to leave this and let it dry, and then we're going to put on our silhouette. All right, we're back, and our variegated wash is completely dry, so we have a nice canvas to create a fun silhouette on. So when practicing these, I do recommend starting with just two colors and working them together, and you can of course play with the gradients as well to get more atmosphere or practice another skill all in the same piece. And then as you get comfortable with that and working colors together seamlessly, you can start to introduce a third, a fourth color. You can do your washes on angles or in shapes, but starting with just back and forth for ultra beginner is really the way to go with just two colors. Okay, so let's paint a silhouette. We're going to do this, of course, in Payne's gray or black. I have Payne's gray in my palette, so I'm going to use that. And I'm switching to my round brush here. A little blue in this well, but it will be fine. All right, so for our silhouette, you could do 1,000 different things. I've done safari, animals, I've done people, flying kites in the background. I think we're going to keep it simple and do like kind of a forest scene, some trees and some flowers and grass in silhouette. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to kind of give myself a baseline here. And with silhouettes and Payne's gray, depending on how dark you actually want it, you may, on some of the bigger areas, like if you're painting in a big area, have to do more than one layer on it to keep it really dark. All right, so we have my kind of ground line in here. And you can see when you put something dark and contrasty, the bright spots start to really become really bright. So this is going to be kind of a woodland scene, poking through you know, kind of looking through from the forest into a sunrise of some kind. All right, so sorry, I know I'm gonna run out. I always run out if I don't make enough. I'm just pulling a lot out of here, water. We want a nice flow. All right, so we're gonna put some trees along the sides. So I'm going to have that are kind of bowing in, and then in here we're gonna put some grasses and flowers. Maybe we'll put in the silhouette of some kind of animal. So I'm just gonna set myself up here. Some trunks of trees. So we're just getting thicker to thinner at the top, and then we'll add on some details. So just a few kind of branches here. All right, and we don't want to go too crazy because I'm gonna add leaves and stuff at the top, and we can always add in more branches later. Okay, that's good for the trunks and the branches of the trees. And now I'm just going to, I want it to be kind of really full, almost getting all the way in, I think. Okay, I'm just gonna take the tip of my round brush and I'm just gonna start to pounce. I wanna leave space in between. I wanna change the shape of my brush and the direction as I go. I am going to use a little water, so some of them are a little darker. Even though it's all in silhouette, that doesn't mean some spots can't be a little lighter and a little darker. Along here, I'm going to make some thicker, bunchier sections. And just try not to overthink it too much. Again, I'm gonna add in some other connecting branches later. These were just my base, but like some of these areas, these hanging leaves will connect them shortly. And you know what, I'm gonna have like a little bit right here, kind of sticking out like there's a branch. A little baby branch right there. Okay, so let's move to the other side. Same thing, kind of pounce my way through. Sometimes I'm right up on the tip of my brush, and sometimes I apply a lot of pressure to get the whole shape of my brush. Add a little water to get some lighter grayer areas, and some of like even the pink kind of shines through. My biggest challenge is always I start on the right and then I paint over here, and I should be painting left to right because I'm right-handed. So if you're right-handed, it's okay to stop every once in a while and kind of check out your work. Feel like, is it really heavy in one spot? Is it too light in another? Is it going in like a funky direction? I'm gonna put like, kind of combine them up here. And again, I'm gonna add some connecting branches that kind of bring things together. It looks pretty good right now. Like I like the overall look and feel. We just need a few little connecting branches. Not every little thing has to have an exact branch connected to it. And then as this dries, it's getting a little lighter. I'm just gonna pop in a little more, a few spots of darker color. So even in our silhouette, we get a little dimension. So we have some lighter areas and darker areas. And here I'm gonna All right. All right, I'm gonna let those dry and then we'll add in some connecting branches shortly. I'm just gonna let it dry so I can really get an idea of what that looks like. Let's add something down here in the middle, and you could add a ton of things. You could add a building silhouette. You could add some more mountains and hills receding into the background, and a person, you know, a little person or an animal. Oh, this would be really cute to put like 2 little animals right here, like bunny ears. I don't know if I can do that on the fly. You can tell I really plan these all out right before I record. Sometimes I do. Sometimes they have a lengthy planning process. Other times, not so much. So you know what we're going to do? I'm going to do a bunny. Oh. So the bunny has a round body. Again, it's silhouette, so we don't need all of the details, and a smaller head. And then, so this is a little illustrative. The ears, the telltale ears. So just a little bunny. But then I'm going to put a whole bunch of stuff around it. So there's a little bunny sitting in the, oh, and then we could do one. Ooh, this could go poorly. Let's do the side view of a bunny. Okay, so its body is a little funkier this way. It's got a little head like this. Oh, this is a demon bunny, maybe. And we'll give it a little tail. A little chunky bunny. All right, so we got 2 bunnies in the foreground. Let's add in, you don't have to add bunnies if you don't want to. Let's add lots of tall grasses now. We're gonna put in, just using the flick of my brush, and I'm kind of going all the way from the bottom. I'm not starting like right at the top of my silhouette here. Some of them can, but I'm going all the way from the bottom. And I think going all around the bunnies can be helpful. Try to make some of these tall ones really, really thin. If you have a liner brush, that can be really helpful. Try not to let all your grasses go in the same direction. You know, some of mine are going off to the left and then some crisscrossing back over to the right. They're not all perfectly straight. Some of them are a little curved. They don't all end at the same height. Okay. And then I'm going to put in some stalks that have like a little something on the end of them, like wheat or flowers, like wildflowers. Not everywhere, just a few. Little bits of texture. And you can just go crazy with this. You can add all kinds of fun stuff in there. You could add in like a little bush here, just paint right over your grasses. Now we have a bush or a rock. You know, think about what you would see in a little meadow. And then I can even put in, so light gray off in the background, or lighter gray. We can add like, and these will appear to be like either tree lines or bushes like further in the background because they're lighter gray, so you can. All right. And then even a lighter gray, we could add really could add another tree, but by making it smaller and lighter, it's going to appear kind of off in the distance. So you can go crazy with this. But we're not going to go crazy. We're not going to go too crazy. We have our two little bunnies in our scene. We have some grass, some flowers, some bushes, all kinds of stuff. Just gonna put a little more dark. Now we're just going to add connecting branches to our trees. Just in a few spots. So bringing this kind of down here. And when you have like long hanging things like this, I encourage you not to connect the whole thing. Just let it be. Those little twigs and branches are so tiny that connect those. You really don't see them through the leaves. This one I'll give a little bit to. Up here though, we'll create a few. And these are thin, thin, thin. You know, a lot of these branches as they come out. And you can even have ones that don't have any leaves on it. Like it doesn't have to end connected to a leaf. It can be poking out a little bit of a dead branch. And there we go. We have our beautiful variegated wash and our silhouette. And now we can take off our tape. See our nice clean lines. These are always fun to do, create these little silhouette scenes. And again, you can go all different ways. You can do organic, you can do buildings like a cityscape or a skyline. Can be really fun for silhouettes. So maybe we'll do more of those. All right, thanks for painting with me today. I hope you found this as a beginner, or a brand new beginner, super helpful practicing those washes, but feeling like you weren't just practicing, but making something lovely as well. Thanks again for watching. I'm Shayna Cersei. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment. I'd love to hear from y'all. Share this video with someone else who may also want to learn the art of watercolor. Thanks, y'all. Take care.